Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark. We're back here for the daily update. I had to think about that for a second. So, it's Monday, summer Monday. Earnings are going to begin this week. Obviously, we had a few last week with Alcoa, a few other banks. But tomorrow we have Goldman Sachs, IBM, Google on, I believe, Thursday, Intel this week. We definitely have an array of earnings that are going to help dictate a lot of this move in this market. We gapped up this morning pretty nicely. If you actually look at the spider chart, we didn't really do much the entire day. Just here's a 60-minute chart just so you can see. We basically had as little movement and as I've seen a big gap up. So there is that risk that a gap could be filled, meaning, a downward motion, but we'll have to wait and see if earnings, with Goldman Sachs, and I think there might be JP Morgan tomorrow. I'm not sure. But overall, we had some decent action, and again, it's a stock picker's market. We have to keep saying that, but that's really where we're at. Every time we think this market is done and we're ready to come down, and buyers come in and swoop up these stocks very, very quickly. Today was a little bit of a high beta day, which you haven't seen in a little bit. Facebook Friday had some strength, followed through very nicely today. I would have thought, and I still would think it would rest right around here, waiting to earnings, but we'll have to wait and see if that's the case. Either way, it looks like it's going to highs, and new highs are in the cards. Google had a decent move, earnings Thursday, so I don't see it moving too drastically right before earnings, but then earnings, I think 610, and then new highs for Google, it's like 612, 614, 615 will be another trigger for new highs. So very interesting. Amazon kept coming along after it broke its 200-day, tested 200-day on Friday, kept going. What a big move, and obviously it's back on the old Amazon track. No earnings, but everybody loves the stock. So it's back in vogue, and you got to really respect the fact that that's happening. And you had some movement across the board. Tesla today looked like crap and looked really poor. Looked like it was breaking down possibly a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, reversed, and again, I'll show you, you can see a 60-minute chart, had that big bar, reversal bar, and really held up there, and, looks poised to probably go higher from here. Looks, if it gets above yesterday's high or today's high, 240 is in the cards, really, if you look at the hourly, and it could get there very quickly. It is Tesla, so it does trade very rapidly. What else? What else did we look at today? So that was one, and then we had LinkedIn, a lesser of the betas, but still hanging in there. It seems like it wants to hold around here. I do think it is cheap here, but again, you want to see price action starting to continue across the board for that to be the case. The winner of the day was actually from our chat, and I very rarely mention shout outs, but I got to say RD from our chat did a very, very good job in this stock, and you could just see the daily chart. It had some earnings, or I think it was revenue projections, up month over month, big, or quarter over quarter, and it gapped up $1.50. Stock it has been on a lot of our radars for a while, but it kept going, and it looks like it's heavily shorted, and it looks like $20 is in the cards. But either way, he had very good conviction. I think he kept a lot of people in. That's how this chat room works. That's where you should be getting involved. It helps the community. It helps yourself. Trust me. But it's one of those things that really gets others, to add some conviction. You need conviction to obviously make money on your ideas, ideally. And overall, guys, not a whole lot else to talk about. Apple had some strength early. Looks like it's right into earnings. It's hanging at highs. $100 is probably back in the cards. Oil stocks were okay. Gold obviously got hit in the morning. I know Scott talked about it. That's off my radar. I really haven't traded. I don't trade it that often, but it's off the radar across the board. Some of the oil stocks, Exxon's still hanging in there, Chevron's still hanging in there, Schlumberger, but they're taking breaks right now, and at some point there'll probably be viable opportunities across the board, and we'll go from there. Overall, this market seems okay, but I think earnings are really going to dictate what's happening across the board. Not so excited. Obviously, I'd like to see a little bit bigger movement in some of these S&P moves than 30 cents in a day in the spiders. But again, we can't control this market. We just have to obviously navigate accordingly. And we did a pretty good job today. I think the guys' stock selections were pretty good. because there was very few stocks actually in play. The rest were just out of play. But that might be the market. We're in for a little while. Hopefully earnings shake some things up a little bit, get some really good movement that you can really take advantage of, and we try to capitalize on it. Hopefully you had a good day. Hopefully you are involved and listening to the chat, because if you're not, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, even if it's for the first half an hour of the day to hour of the day. I think it really helps give you a little bit of a taste of what the market is in for that day, which is important, obviously, on a relatively consistent basis. I will see you all back tomorrow. Have a good night.